I'm Brad Pearson of Pearson Classics, and let's get the rust fixed on this K20. Give you a quick overview of what's going on with the old flatbed here. This fender looks pretty solid, except for we got a little bubble here. It is soft. Hoping that I can cut out and repair this and keep this fender because it's solid down below on both sides. A little bubbling here, a little here to take care of. I have a few old fenders that have good spots here. I can cut those out and put them in. I started taking the running board. I did take this running board off, and I'm working on taking the door off now, but I thought I'd pause, kind of give a level set of where I'm at. So we've got your typical cab rust. Okay, this thing, pretty sure it's taking on moisture. That's a nice screw there. Pretty sure it's taking on moisture along this seam up here. Okay, a couple of these, this screw's loose, this screw's loose, this screw's loose. So these have been off before it's been painted. Pretty sure it's leaking up here because every time after it rains, my floor mat is moist. It's not wet, just moist. You can see in here, I got nothing wrong with duct tape, guys. It plugs some holes, keeps cold air off your legs in winter. So we've got a pretty good hole here. Got a bare wire here too, that's fun. Oh, it's just a cutoff. So we're gonna investigate this a little bit. Get this door off and see what I got. I got the door off. We can see the rust here on the rocker. It's pretty extensive. It's pretty bad. Inner rocker's still there. That's a huge plus. So I started taking the fender loose while the front bolts out. Across the front, I'm gonna take the inner fender with it because I have replacements. I'm gonna go ahead and change those while I have it out. So I'm gonna work on the bolt up top. One here, one down below back here. Still got the plastic guard. I'll have to drop that down so I can get to the bolt here. Well, as you can see, some dust is flying in the air. I was able to cut off the rocker in the cab corner. I gotta go through my parts I bought. I really don't remember if I bought an inner rocker or not. Probably should change it while I'm here, but in all honesty, yeah, it's pitted, but it's solid. So back here is not so solid, but I mean, it's already starting to fall off there anyways. Naturally, that's kind of how it's made. So this is up underneath where you can't see. So I don't know, undecided on exactly how to repair this. I know I bought a chunk of floor and I bought an inner kick panel, which has a hole in it down. You can't see my fingers, yay. So I know I've got to repair this and get in here, clean out some mouse nest. I'm hoping to treat some of this while I got it apart too. There's some rust converter up in there. But spend your money and buy a spot weld cutter. Things just made it really slick. I started here, as you could tell, I drilled through, but made my way across, got a little antsy there and drilled through again a couple times, but it helped pop everything loose. I didn't cut this high. I knew I wasn't gonna cut this high, but I went ahead and took these loose anyways and drilled them. It allowed everything to kind of flex and it popped this seam. I think this was just glued on through here, so it allowed it to pop. I was able to drill out along here. This inner cab structure is still really solid. Piece of the cab corner that I didn't cut off. I need to come back and clean the back part of the cab corner off that I cut. But surprisingly, this inner cab piece is very solid. I can bend this back around and straighten it out, but yeah, so far so good. So the more I dug, the more I realized the inner rocker needed replaced. Not bad for a blind corner. Got these things put together with all the good metal I could and tied it in. But I really want to show here is look how good this looks on the bottom. Don't trust it, guys. That fender I didn't think was too bad was too bad. It's really not good. So I set out to find a replacement after jacking with it for a day. My passenger side fender I knew I was replacing. I had an aftermarket one I picked up from a friend. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but here it is painted up and ready to go on. I can't stress enough how easy it is to roll these things outside and pressure wash them at this point. Clean what you can't get to when the fenders are on. I really quit recording a lot of stuff. This is a lot of fit up, a lot of tack welding, and this is just kind of my process of what I was doing. So this is just purely crazy. I put a note on a local car guy Facebook page asking for a good usable fender. Look at that color. It's so close to being just right. Well, my plan is this fender's rust free. It does have some scuffs. Little scratches here and there. There's a little ding to deal with down low. What I'm gonna do is do a little rust treatment in some spots where there is a little surface rust and scuff a few spots up like this. I'm gonna paint the inside of it blue that I wanna paint the truck, and it's going on. I can sand the outside of it in the spring and paint the whole truck then. So it's just gonna look a little off for a bit, but yeah, good enough, right? All right, a new fender that I picked up is washed, wiped down. I mean, yeah, this is what we're needing. This is in great shape. No rust, none even starting really. I mean, there's a few little scabs, but these are just surface, they'll clean right up. So looking really good. I'm gonna do a little rust conversion stuff in here. I mean, I do see a little bit of surface just starting, but I'm gonna scuff it and put some rust converter in here after it dries. What I'm not showing you is that I bought some of the rust chassis saver and I touched into those spots before I primed it. This is just a self-etching primer finished up with just a color match coat of paint, color match from a local shop. With this new to me fender picked up and ready to go on now, I could use it to start fitting my rocker. Welded my rocker in place, fit it best I could to my abilities, and went ahead and just cleaned it up and painted it that same color blue I used on the inside of the fender. Then I moved on to the floor, cut out the big patch of rust that was showing, and fitted in a new piece, got it welded in, did a little seam sealer around my welds, and put down that same chassis saver on the driver's side. A little bit of rust on the passenger side, touched that up with the same chassis saver, and just moved my way in then to covering the floor. I put down a sound deadener that I bought off of Amazon, nothing fancy, just a sound deadener. And it's also got an insulation mat from LMC underneath the factory rubber floor mat. With the driver's side pretty well done, it was time to move over to the passenger side. The rocker on that one, I failed to get a picture ahead of time, but I cut out just a little bit of rust and moved into so cut off the cab corner. Had just a couple of rust bubbles right here that I was able to tack weld shut. Worked out pretty well, didn't burn through. So I took my cut off piece from the front of the rocker to a new rocker panel, trimmed and cut out my replacement piece that I tack welded in. Just clean up the edges so I could make a good weld. Got it fit best I could, tacked it all in place, and just kept welding my way around it, ground it smooth, put a little body filler over top of that, moved my way towards the rear, and put some weld down on my cab corner. Followed that up with, just put some body filler over it once I ground it smooth. Didn't show every bit of the process here because at this point I'm wanting to get this thing done. I finished sanding and primed all the rocker panel and shot it with a coat of blue paint to match the bottom of the truck. Before the door was put on though, it had a little bit of scaly rust going on, so I cleaned it up too. I want to give an overview of the flatbed. I've done quite a bit of work to it. None of this work was done professionally. It's all done by me here in my garage. And it's good enough. Could have taken more time with it, but this thing is just a driver. And I'm planning to scuff it all again and repaint the whole truck in the spring or summer. I'll give you a close-up. Did this cab corner in this complete rocker.
with the flatbed here, I can get right in and show you my seams. They're not the prettiest thing in the world. They're done. Okay. Everything welded up. Seam sealed on the top side, undercoated on the bottom. Complete there. Driver's side needed more work than the passenger side did. I had sourced this rust-free GM fender. Was not able to find a rust-free GM fender for the passenger side yet. I may still replace it. It was a bear to put on. This one has a lot of scratches in it, a lot of superficial dings, some things I'm gonna have to work out of it before I'm ready to paint. You see another ding here, but it's a nice, very solid, rust-free fender off of a newer Silverado or Suburban. I'm not sure what. Guessing probably Suburban. Had somebody's funky, cheap Silverado decal on it. Trying to decide whether or not I'm gonna put decals back on it or not. I did decide I wanted to keep with this color blue. I had this color matched off of the door. It's close enough. Actually, I like it better. It pops just a little more. You can really see the contrast at the firewall. But I think this blue is the blue I'm gonna paint the whole truck with, the dark blue. I haven't decided if the dark blue is gonna go in the middle like this fender. Really like this, or if it'll be like what I did on the passenger side, which this is original. Blue along the bottom, it's factory. So I'm not sure which way I'm gonna go there. But this fender I picked up from a friend who had it left over from a project that they had, so I went ahead and used it. Not real happy with it. It was sprung. I don't know if that's why maybe it didn't get used. He didn't use it. It came with a truck he bought that already had a pair of new fenders on it. So him and I are both wondering if it got indeed not used because it's tweaked. And I'll show you here. I've put spacers in. Put a spacer in here to get it away from the core support. When I shut it, I mean, I've already nicked a little bit of paint off the hood. Look how tight that is. That's with the rubber seals in. So I need to unbolt all the way down the side and kick it over. That's not super high on the priority list at all. Gap along the top isn't great. I can feel the hood comes up in this space and then matches again down here. Comes up here, matches. I don't know. I don't like it. So I'm gonna keep looking for a GM fender to put on it. Matches pretty good up here. This isn't bad. The other work I did down here, rocker, I did cut out a chunk of the rocker from about here and replaced this piece. This is still factory. It was fine all the way back. He was even fine at the seam. So I cut in the cab corner about right there, which again, I'm gonna paint this thing this spring, so I didn't get crazy with body work and sanding because mostly it's winter. This is the first warm day I've had in 3 weeks. So I wanted to wait till I could get it outside. So this is all for now. So I painted it with the color match that I got for the fenders for now. Just experimented with the line. I kind of like the two-tone line like that. If I am gonna two-tone it, it's an option. I put like a sound deadener mat on the floor with a LMC insulation under it. My cheap Amazon seat cover, $40 on Amazon. Look at this. It's so dry. It just pulls apart. I don't know. Don't get the cheap ones, I guess. It's ripping up here too, which is strange. Nobody sits on this side. The driver's side's fine. This side's dry rotted. I don't know. Hard to see. I do have a plastic overlay on this thing from LMC. It's better than looking at cracks, but it's not awesome. When it gets hot, she just bows. So it is what it is. This I think is cool. I parted out a 2002 Yukon XL. This is door trim, rubber weather stripping out of that Yukon. I saved it. I had to squeeze every bit of it to get it to fit tight. So squeezed it, then slid it on. It kind of got a little extra lip that we don't have on these 73 to 87s. So I thought that was kind of cool. Overall, this truck's just, it is a solid old truck, and I just wanted to save it for a little while. So I'll revisit it again and get a fresh coat on the whole body, and kicking around having a flatbed sandblasted and possibly powder coated. There's a place local to me that can fit it in their oven. I just need to get it up there and have them give me a quote. So now that it's on the road again, I can do that. Thanks for checking it out.
Be sure to check me out on Instagram under Pearson Classics. I'm always posting something we're doing around here at the house. Thanks again.